What's up with the world? It's your boy Sleepy J. You are tuned into the Know It All Sports Podcast. I am Sleepy J with my co-host.
I am whoever you say I am. And if I wasn't, then why would I say I am?
Damn it.
Or you can call me Coach Rudy.
All right, Coach Rudy is in the building with me. As always, we got a lot of things to cover. Football season is completely taking over the podcast. So if you guys don't like football, well...
Ha
but we got a lot of topics we're going to go over, and Rudy says we're going to go over his running backs this week, but we'll see how that goes.
Dang it. Well, we've been trying to do that for, the last 6 weeks?
Football hasn't even, it's been a few weeks.
All right, so let's do this. Before we get into our rundowns of picks for this week.
Yes.
Recap last week a little bit. Both of us were 9-6 in our picks.
So I'm actually still winning this bet.
You are by 1. So we'll see what the punishment is going to be.
If you recall, you were saying that I had to pick the same ones, and I could have stayed as the victorious.
Yep.
And I still picked opposite of you, and I still
in a handful of games. Yeah. What really made our picks look average with that 9-6 record was a couple of late blown games. The Chiefs getting upset by the Ravens, and then the Titans making a big comeback on the Seahawks. Pushed us from having 11 wins to having 9.
You're saying it's an upset, but I'm pretty sure the Ravens were happy with that way that came out.
Yeah, but it was an upset because they were expected to lose.
I know.
Do you? All right, well, look, before we get into even that kind of mess, I just wanted to say we were both 9-6 with it. Still better than what we were first week. So we didn't lie to you guys as much. Once again, it was 9-6 for what we said on air, but really we were 15-0. So
right. We change our minds sometimes after we've recorded this.
Oh yeah,
that's how come we have a perfect record.
Of course. I mean, it only makes sense that you correct your picks.
Right.
When you get more information.
Right.
And as the final scores start coming in, you make those adjustments. Because only an idiot would sit there and say, oh, no, I'm still going to pick this team to win when they know that the game's over.
This is true.
So, anywho, big news. A lot of quarterbacks were injured.
No.
Tua, Fitzpatrick, Tyrod Taylor, Carson Wentz, Andy Dalton. Now, you may not think that these guys are like the best of the best quarterbacks, but they were starters on their teams.
Right.
So that said, they were considered 5 of the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
Now, some of you might criticize Chicago's Andy Dalton and say, oh, the rookie should have been starting over him anyways, just because the rookie has more talent or explosiveness does not make him the better option to start.
Right, because one thing, especially in this league, like the reason why you favor a veteran over a rookie is because it's a faster paced game. There's just difference in from college to the pros, and there's just things like that's why we don't trust rookies. As me and you personally, we don't trust rookies because there's the little things that they don't know from being in the league, like a pass rush, like how to get rid of the ball faster or where to throw it whenever they're getting rid of it and things like that, or like how to hold the ball properly when they're running.
Did you take driver's ed?
No.
Okay, so I took driver's ed. One of the most...
I know, fool.
With
you, stupid.
One of the most impactful things that my driver's ed teacher taught us was he said that when you're first learning to drive, your peripheral vision is...
Tunnel vision?
It's blocked off. You got blinders like a horse does whenever they're putting them in the street, right?
Yeah.
Said, the more you drive, then you can start seeing horizontally and somewhat behind you.
Right.
And it's true. The more experience you have behind the wheel, the better your vision is to avoid certain things. Same thing for a quarterback. The more years they have out there, they start becoming more dependent on their knowledge of the field, their positioning,
Right.
what's gonna happen, able to address those things that they don't even see.
The reason why
And that's
Tony
why
Romo is such a great, like, what do you call
quarterback, escape artist.
No, like as a commentator, like when
Oh.
he's watching, everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's calling the plays that they're doing." He was playing for 15 years before he went to be a podcaster, a sportscaster. Like he knows them because he had just got out. He knows like, oh, I know exactly what they're running because he watched game footage and seen how
I was studying them for the last 6 years, so I know what this coach does and what that.
Exactly. So that's what you get when you have a veteran in the game versus a rookie. So
and look, I have no doubts that Chicago fans truly believe that their rookie quarterback is going to be a sensation, but that doesn't mean that he's going to necessarily be the best equipped to win for them now.
I mean, they thought that whenever they had what's his name, Magic Mitch. Like the
Mitch Trubisky, yeah. And look, Mitch actually could have turned out to be a good quarterback if he was just afforded the time without the pressure. But that's a lot of ifs, and that's no guarantee.
Well, yeah, if you're going off of ifs, you could always say the Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl every year as long as everyone stays healthy all year.
If their coaches don't screw it up.
That too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ifs that you could throw in there if you're making ifs.
But my thought with it is, I know it's unpopular amongst a lot of reporters and whatnot. I personally liked Andy Dalton for Chicago versus their rookie for this season, or at least for the majority of this season, thinking that it's better for him to be playing for Chicago to have a higher probability of winning. But, and if you notice, we won't say a lot of rookies' names because they don't necessarily deserve it yet.
Right.
And it's not for anything, but a lot of these rookies that's what they are. They're rooks.
For at least for me, I don't know for you, it's a lot of it has to do with because they are rookies that if they show a flare, maybe the first season or first couple of games, and then they just die out because they just didn't live up to it. I don't want to have to explain like why at one moment I was all
excited
in
about it. Yeah. It's very rare that you're going to hear me or Jay prop up a rookie, especially a rookie quarterback.
Right.
Other positions, different story.
Yeah.
Different things that go into that.
But
think rookie quarterbacks,
there's a lot of pressure. Like when you're especially in football, like when you're the quarterback, you're the reason why you're winning or losing. Even though there's 10 other people on the field, you're the reason that they're going to say you're either winning or losing, even though it could very well be your line isn't protecting you or a receiver's not catching the ball or a running back doesn't actually, find the hole. Even though you've
a million things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
And it's going to fall on you.
Yeah. Which is really, that's why when I played, I hated like being on the offense because it's just like, dude, like no one says shit when we're winning, but when we're losing, we're the worst thing in the fucking game. So
side note, I went to watch my high school football team this past Friday.
No,
not because I wanted to.
Liar.
As much as my daughter and her friend wanted to go see. It's their school too.
Yeah.
So they wanted to go see it. So I took them, and it was a blowout in the wrong way, meaning that the other team blew out my high school team. And it was some of the worst football I've ever seen.
That's a shame.
On the offensive line side. Just overall. But
wasn't that where you were coaching just most recently?
Yeah, I just didn't want to say that. But thanks for putting it out there. Yeah.
Well, you're not the coach anymore. It's not your fault.
No, and my daughter, it was funny because after the game, my daughter's watching and she tells me in the car, she's like, honestly, Dad, if you would have been coaching that team, I could have been your assistant and we would have put together a much better game than what they put. They look like crap. I can't believe that they're putting that out there. And it's because she knows what I instill in my players.
Yeah.
And how I get the best out of them. I mean, these linemen, dude, the only offensive lineman that played well at all was the center because he was picking up a block.
Yeah.
The other four were standing up and turning sideways and letting everyone run through.
Jesus.
And virtually on every play.
Like, and I played guard and occasionally I play tackle. But one position I never wanted to play because it was, I mean, it's hard, but it's not hard, was fucking center. Because as a lineman, it's the hardest thing to do because you have to hike the ball and protect yourself and the quarterback. Like, it's not like when you're a guard or you're a tackle, you just have to block the fucking guy in front of you.
No, the only offensive lineman playing worth a damn was the center.
That's fucking crazy.
And here's the flip side. You know they say you win and lose on the line, right? Yeah. So on the defensive end side or the defensive line side, you had 3 returning players from the previous year that were starting, and they switched up from a 3-4 to a 4-3, which was needed, good, except for 2 of the players that were on the defensive line.
Yeah.
One of them played great. He got several sacks. He made several tackles behind the line.
Okay.
The other one played okay. I saw a few mistakes, but he was very solid.
Yeah.
So what the other team did, they figured out, okay, we can't stop this one. This one sometimes we can stop, but we can run towards the other 2 guys.
Right.
And it didn't matter who they were.
Right.
Because whenever they switched anybody else in for those other 2 positions, the holes were massive. They had 2 decent players on the defensive line.
Wow.
One was great. The other one was okay. And you can't play with 2 players on the defensive line.
No.
And 1 player on the offensive line.
It's unfortunate.
They lost 35-6, and it was not that close.
So it could have been worse. They might have had some mercy on them for.
Dude, it got so bad. So they started off with their second string quarterback.
Wow.
Okay, because the first string quarterback, I was told by one of the former players that he was hurt. So they started off with, he's not very good anyways. So they started off with second string quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They were moving the ball a little bit, even though the offensive line sucked.
Right.
He ends up getting hurt just before halftime.
Damn.
Start second half with the first string quarterback, put him back in there. He's doing so badly that they end up running with their corner as their quarterback.
Wow.
Just because he's athletic, but he's not a quarterback by any means.
Wow.
And so they're not throwing.
Yeah.
It's just runs.
Yeah.
Right, left, whatever. Running backs getting some direct snaps. But they took out their quarterback.
Yeah. For a defensive player.
Yes, that's how bad it got.
You know, that's crazy because most of the time, whenever you do, like, if you are going to switch your quarterback, you maybe go to your backfield, maybe a running back. Or
exactly. A running back or receiver, someone who probably played a little bit before.
Yeah.
Familiar with it, knows more of the offensive plays. Yeah, dude. That's how bad it got.
That's crazy. One thing I hated about my high school was we had one quarterback who was great at picking up the reads and throwing the ball around. The other quarterback was a scramble quarterback. And the thing that would piss me off was, like, you knew whenever they switched the quarterback, you knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
When Grubbs got in, he's running the ball. If you had a Farmer in there, he's throwing the ball. And we typically, all we really ran, our number one play that we ran was quarterback option. Like, it was always quarterback option. Like, either you're handing the ball off to your running back or you're throwing it to your tight end because for whatever reason, those are the only 2 fucking people that ever got open. But, I mean, running back game was always on point. We had really good running backs. The quarterback never really threw too far, but, yeah, it used to piss me off to see, like, it's even now, like, watching pros, like, when you know, like, oh, this quarterback or this running back is an elusive person versus a pound it down your throat, and you just, oh, guess who's in there? He's going to run it down our throat, so get ready to stop that run. Or, oh, they're going to run outside because that's what he does. It just pisses me off. Like, you guys don't know how to, like, disguise it a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
so
sucks for them.
It does. Hope Hope that they fix their offensive line woes because, man, those offensive linemen seriously stood up, turned their shoulders, and let people run by. They weren't even trying to block anybody.
That's crazy.
But getting back to this thing, all these injured quarterbacks, Tua getting hurt, that honestly, it does one of two things. It either opens the door for Deshaun Watson to actually be traded to Miami because Miami was seeking him.
Right.
Or it decides for Miami, okay, we're going to tank again.
Right.
And I don't think they want to tank again. I think that them knowing Deshaun Watson's out there, I think that they want him. I think last year they got 10 wins but missed the playoffs or something.
Yeah.
And I think that they want to capitalize right now.
Yeah, I think that they're trying. I mean, what was it, 2 seasons ago or last year that they...
A couple years ago when they tanked for Tua.
Well, I was just saying that they had all those... the players pretty much said, like, we don't want to be here anymore, and, like, everyone got traded out and all that. And I think they're trying to change that environment all around because, like, shit, even if you're on a bad team, you at least want your players to feel good about being on the team. Like,
that's true.
Like, Cleveland, Cincinnati haven't always had good teams, and the players were at least happy to be on a team. Like, if you're so miserable, like, I don't even want to be on the team. So... yeah, I don't think I think you're right. I think that they really want to try, and it does. It opens the door to either Deshaun or the long shot that everyone always hopes for. But I think at this point he's getting too old. Is Kaepernick?
I don't think the NFL's going to give Cap a shot, to be honest.
I don't think
but
so. That's a whole other thing.
You know what I did hear?
What?
The quarterback, San Diego quarterback, went to Colts. What's his name? Just retired this last season.
The San Diego one?
Yeah. Went to the Colts last year to play.
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
You think about that while I say what he said. He apparently said that he would entertain the idea of coming out of retirement to play for the right situation in the middle of this year. He's got like 17 kids or something like that.
Really?
Oh, yeah, man. He's been having a kid a year since he entered the league. Dude, what's his name? Anyways, so in the right situation, he's up for it. So meaning a playoff team that quarterback gets injured middle of the year. Yeah, Phillip Rivers. So that's out there, you know. But Miami, Tua, don't know how long he's going to be out for. A Washington football team, Fitzpatrick got hurt. We'll see what happens there. Their backup came in, still held on for the win against the Giants last week. Tyrod Taylor, man, I heard somebody say today the weirdest thing. They said they wonder if this is God just telling Tyrod, you better give this dream up.
Damn, dude, that hurts.
Like, I know, it was rough.
But you know what? I mean... he's almost oh fuck, dude. Like when I heard he got hurt, I'm like, dude, like he's on that fucking.
He was already on that bubble, man.
Yeah, no. What's the guy that just retired? That like his whole career, he's like when he's playing, he's on point, but he's hurt like most of the time. Alex Smith, like Alex Smith has had that whole career, like when he
those
actually
flashes.
plays, yeah. He starts out really good, and then he breaks a leg or breaks a collarbone, out for the rest of the season, and it's really sad because like even towards the last few seasons, like man, he balled his ass off, and I was like, man, he has what it takes to get to a Super Bowl, but just never actually got there. Not himself to the game, like his teams have gone, but he hasn't.
He took him to the finals,
just
before the Super Bowl, But yeah,
so Tyrod hasn't gotten that lucky, but I mean,
and Carson Wentz sprained both ankles. That's hard to do, man. That's hard to do.
Damn, did you
look? I can play with a sprained ankle. I've told you I hate Drake because he said sprained ankle has nothing to play with. Whatever, but two sprained ankles.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know. Yeah, how do you do that? Like
I don't know.
Maybe while he was running, maybe he twisted one while he was running, and then like they got the other one. I don't know.
That's just hard, man.
I didn't watch. I haven't watched any of the games. I've been listening to them play. like on iHeartRadio, but I've been listening to them.
So, and then Andy Dalton gets hurt, and he's on that bubble too because so many want to replace him with the Rook.
Yeah.
But, you know,
for him, I really want him. Like, I don't like to hear him get hurt because, like, I know so many people want to write him off, and I really think he's better than people want to give him credit for. And a lot of people are like, well,
Carson Palmer, that's who his career reminds me of. You remember Carson Palmer leaves Cincy, goes to was it San Fran for a year or something, and then went to
Arizona.
Yeah, and I think that's Andy Dalton. You know, he left Cincy, goes to Dallas, plays all right, and now he has a chance with Chicago because they got a really stout defense, and they got some really good running backs. So
I just don't know how long he's out. I'm hoping that he can bounce back fast enough.
The team said that he's still the starter.
Yeah.
But
hopefully he can bounce back before he loses the spot. Because if his rookie is as good as
everyone's hoping he is.
Yeah.
So last week the Chiefs lost to the Ravens. Like you said, the Ravens have to be excited about that. I know
they weren't upset about it.
Lamar Jackson was really thrilled with the win. It was his first win against the Chiefs, I think, in like 4 or 5 attempts.
Yeah.
So it's huge for him. It's a big monkey off his back.
Because before the game he had said that it's kind of like his kryptonite is to play against Kansas City. So,
but it's not easy to play in this league, and even though the Chiefs aren't the Cowboys and aren't the Super Bowl champs, everyone has a target on their back and is going to give them their best effort right now because they are the class of the NFL right now, especially their quarterback.
Yeah, I will say I watched a little bit of the pre-game before the game started, and they were like, "Who are you taking? Are you taking Jackson? Or are you taking Mahomes?" And they were going back and forth, and it was everyone was obviously going with Mahomes. They're like, they were playing the game of like, oh, I don't know who I'm gonna take, and then they're like, obviously I'm going with Mahomes. Like, even Jackson doesn't believe that he's gonna win this game, and I'm just like, damn, dude, like y'all ain't gotta like call him out on it. Like, we all are thinking it, and they're like, I hate to even say this, but we all are obviously going Mahomes on this. And I mean, it was by luck. It wasn't like he beat him by like shootout all the way through. It was honestly a mishap with the ball that they got the ball back to hold it for the win. Had he not, what
I think the Chiefs are right now is they're this decade's Colts. With Peyton Manning and the Colts, they would win a bunch of games every year.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, well, what are they going to do in the playoffs? Are they going to be healthy enough? Are they going to be...
As a fan, what do you think? Like, we're saying that Kansas City's not a perfect team, right? We're not saying
of course, and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That Colts team, you knew their offense was on point, and you're like, but if their defense can hold up, they can do something. And a couple of times that they did, you know.
I think the only thing that makes everyone a little bit on edge is if you're it's similar to Tampa Bay, in my opinion, where the problem is that their offense is so good that either they're not really running the clock out. They're throwing this fucking ball around.
That's the thing. Their defense gets on the field too much.
Yeah.
And I know people try to say, oh, it's a throwing league now. That's the way it is. It don't have to be. And when you look at the playoffs, that's not what shows.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you get there.
It's more exciting.
It's slowed down because it's colder. And a lot of these stadiums are still not domed.
Yeah.
So it's harder to throw that ball. The colder it is,
you get in Green Bay and throwing that ball around.
So running backs matter in the playoffs. A running game, actually, a short game, short passing game versus the long.
Right.
So that type of stuff factors in.
Right. The catching that ball fucking hurt your hands as it is on a warm day, let alone whenever your hands are fucking frozen and you've been running around.
Yeah, the fear creeps in whether you want it to or not.
Yeah.
Well. That was a big game, but you know what? We'll probably see it again in the playoffs. It was huge for the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, you don't expect a free fall by any means. They do play in a difficult division, but you expect the Chiefs to still get 11, 12 wins.
I forget who I was watching. There's a player that was that they basically talked about Mahomes, and they're like, the thing about Mahomes is he's just like an offense in himself. Like, and then he has all these weapons on his side, and that's anyone that's in that division. That's what they're thinking. Like, if we can get past them, we have a fighting shot. And so everyone's going to put forth their best effort. Like, even if you're not playing them today, you might be like, okay, I'm going to practice for this team, but tomorrow we're still practicing for them because we need to be prepared whenever it comes to them.
Yeah, they're getting in people's heads.
Yeah.
And it's for good reason. They've been good even before Mahomes got there.
Yeah.
But now with Mahomes at their other level. So the Cards held off the Vikings. Cards have been playing really well. Kyler Murray showing that he's a baller.
Yeah.
And the Vikings, they needed a win, but coming back to lose by 1 point, to me, with that 17th game,
yeah,
it keeps the Vikings relevant. You know, they're 0-2, but they're 17 games this season, and I think, what did they lose to 2 playoff teams so far?
Yeah, and the thing about Kyler is that, well, unfortunate for, like, we were talking about quarterbacks that needed teams or whatever. Unfortunately, like, Dalton couldn't go to Arizona and have another flair with a good team that gives good flares because Kyler's there. Like, I don't think they've had a young quarterback in probably a decade.
Well, no, they did, but they traded him to Miami, Rosen or something like that.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember any.
Didn't use him. Yeah, well, he was, his rookie year did okay.
Yeah.
Miami wanted him. They said, okay, we didn't think we were going to use him anyways. We were going to go for Kyler.
Yeah.
So we'll send him to you.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think in the last decade, maybe decade and a half, have I seen them with a young
they had Kurt Warner and they had Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've used the idea of let's keep the vet.
Yeah.
Surround him with the tools and minimize those mistakes, and they've been successful with it. Maybe not to the extent of several championships, but
at least contenders. They're consecutive in going into the playoffs, and I mean, at the end of the day, any franchise at least wants to be in the playoffs. Even if you're not going to the Super Bowl, you at least want to be in a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, give yourself a ticket to the dance, right?
Yeah.
So, that was a big one. The Raiders, they beat the brakes off the Steelers. I mean, 26-17.
Yeah.
They controlled the tempo the whole time. They controlled the game.
Raiders surprised me. I didn't really see that coming. But I'm not sold on Carr. I've been pretty open about that over the last few years. That Carr's just, I don't think that he's really that good.
Look, I think he's a good quarterback. Here's the deal. I loved his brother as a quarterback in Houston, but he didn't have a chance because his linemen killed him.
Yeah.
You know, not blocking for him, being sacked more than anybody in the league for like 4 straight years, not having any time to throw anything, any protection. His career was killed. Yeah. But I think he was more talented than this guy.
Yeah.
But I think he came in and showed his brother what he needed so he could be successful. And I think Carr's a very good quarterback.
Yeah, I think for me, he got hurt early on, and that's what really
turned you off of him. But you know what? I think it showed that the Steelers are ready to be big boys in this dance. So we'll see what happens. The Cowboys. Now it's time to get to the Cowboys. What'd you think about the game?
We're going to the Super Bowl. No, I'm just joking. Again, it was one of those games I didn't get a chance to catch a lot of it, but from what I've seen of it,
well, I know you were listening to it and and catching that, but what'd you think about it? Because honestly, I thought it was, once again, the players did their part, but the coaches,
I mean,
they just shot themselves in the foot.
So the moral victory of it, I think, was needed for the team, the players, even for the fan base. As me and you have said in the past couple of weeks, you can lose a game or two early on, and as long as you bounce back from it, you don't want to lose too many early on. I just think that it just good morale boost as far as for that. As far as for, I mean, it still was too close. Like, I don't like. It started out good, and then from what I could tell, it just seemed like I don't know if there was an adjustment in
They got up 14-3,
yeah.
right? And they dominated the time of possession. They were running the ball in the first quarter. And then what happened was the Chargers were controlling the tempo. But once again, poor coaching decisions put them in positions not to necessarily maximize their point production. And take total control of this game.
Right.
There was some good plays, some good picks. The defense had another couple of interceptions. I thought the defense played well. But what I didn't like, I think you saw it at the end of the game. You had the Cowboys 17-17 driving down, and they run a play, and they fall down to 3rd and 3, and they decide not to do anything. Now, the big thing was they're saying, well, the clock wasn't visible anymore. The play clock wasn't visible to the head coach or to the offensive coordinator.
Right.
But at that point, you should know, okay, well, there's 33 seconds left, 27 seconds left.
Yeah.
Here's the play. Run it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean...
And then after the play, hopefully you get your first down.
Yeah.
And if you don't, so long as you didn't lose yards, you call your timeout.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you have time to run another play depending on how far you get. But you're going for the first down.
Yeah.
With 30 seconds left, that should be 3 plays.
Yeah.
1 for the field goal and 2 more. Right. 1 for the first down, hopefully. And then that gives you, if you get the first down, that gives you 2 more shots in the end zone before you resolve to the fact, okay, we're kicking a field goal.
Right.
You don't sit there with that much time left just to take your time out with 4 seconds to try for a 56-yarder.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, that much I'll give you. Like I said, I didn't catch that part of it. So, but the thing for me with that, like, I'm more of a dangerous coaching type of mindset. Like, you're that close, gamble it out. Like you're saying, throw to the outside, try and get, if you can conserve your timeout if that's your thing. Or get to that
3rd and 3, you got to go for the first, man.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's a bootleg run,
right.
Whether it's a short pass, intermediate pass, whatever. If you think my kicker has the leg for it here, you go for the first either way.
Right.
And them choosing not to run a play, to me, was just stupid.
Yeah.
I don't care that the result ended up in the win.
Yeah.
Because it tells you that the coaching staff is inept.
Yeah.
You should have an internal clock on your head. Look, as a coach, as someone who's been there, maybe not at the NFL level, but as someone who's been there, I know how much time is left at the end of each quarter.
Right.
Because when there's a couple minutes left, you ask the ref.
Yeah.
How much time we got? And then in your head, okay, after every play, all right, this is what we got, this is what we got, this is what we got.
Right.
And you make your decisions.
It kind of reminds me, I think it was my brother that used to say, like, maybe it was my stepdad, it don't matter. He used to say, like, I don't know how you didn't know you weren't passing your class because you were failing the whole class. Like, you should have known. Like, why are you surprised that you failed? Like, you should be either doing so well that you know that you're passing, or you're doing so bad that you know that you're failing. There's not really much of an in-between. Like, you either know you have room or you don't have room. And that's the same thing that you're saying. Like, as a coach, you should know, I have enough time to run 2 more plays before this clock runs out, or I can have to kick the ball. And I agree with that. Like, you should at least be that well aware that you should know that.
Without having to stare at that clock.
Right.
So even if that clock goes away, I should be able to say, these are your next 2 plays, run them.
Unless you're fighting to get more time back on there because they did a bad call and they're like, no, you need to go back to the 25-second mark.
That's another story.
Yeah.
But, so, despite the coach's stupidity, the Cowboys pulled off a win. Important win because it's better to be 1-1 than 0-2.
Yes.
And you're able to steal one on the road that that you controlled the tempo of the whole game.
And a lot of people didn't think that. Like a lot of people walked into this thinking this was going to be a loss right off the bat.
I picked the Cowboys to lose, but I picked them to lose because of coaching.
You picked them to win by one.
I did. That is true too. So, anyways, another couple things. Micah Parsons balled out. They used him as a defensive end. Now, when he was going up against the left tackle, the offensive left tackle, he didn't do as great. But when he was going up against the backup right tackle, he killed him. He murdered him.
Yeah.
He did to him what we were afraid Bosa would do. When I say we, I mean the local media, not us.
Right.
We weren't afraid of Bosa. We were afraid of the fact that Martin is your better lineman, so you should have had him in tackle. But either way, the offensive line played well. Steele did his job. He played well at right tackle for the Cowboys, and he held off Bosa, whereas Micah Parsons came in and just bullied that right tackle. And you saw as he was playing, he just looked more and more confident with each play, like he was figuring things out. He was like, oh, that sucked. I got beat on that one, but I'll go back in there. I don't know if you heard his words earlier this week where they were talking to him, and he said, look, man, I'm a bull. Just let me go.
Right.
He said, why would you try to control me? Put me out there. Let me do what I do and wreak havoc.
Right.
And I'm paraphrasing, so if you're thinking that I'm quoting him, I'm not. But that's essentially what he said. He compared himself to a bull and said, you let me go do what I do. He said, when I get tired, I'll let them know.
Right.
He said, but let me use all my energy right now. He said, I'm young. That's what I should be doing.
Right.
And I think that's the right mindset to have.
Yeah.
Cowboys are going to be missing another linebacker. Keanu Neal out with COVID protocols as of right now.
You know, one thing I didn't realize going into the week last week was that I think they said there was 9 coaches out with COVID protocol throughout the league.
Okay, a bunch of them are from one team. I can't remember which team.
But I was just thinking, like, there's a lot of coaches that are out. Like, I was like, wow. And then, like, this week, you know, you have all these quarterbacks that went down. And
I want to say New Orleans is missing a bunch of coaches.
Yeah, I think it was New Orleans and I want to say Buffalo, maybe not Buffalo. But yeah, there's a lot of it was crazy just to think like, man, it's a lot of, you know, and those are key people to be concerned about that are out.
Yeah, they make an impact as far as what's happening out there.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people don't believe in the importance of a coach.
Yeah. Let
me break it down to you like this. For those of you who don't believe that coaches matter, Shaq and Kobe were together before Phil Jackson got there and they hadn't won a championship. Some of you are going to say, yeah, but Kobe was young. Okay. When you look at Portland, the Trailblazers,
yeah,
they had in the early 2000s, late 90s, they had 2 stacks of starters on their team. 5 were playing bench roles, but they would have been starting anywhere else in the league.
Right.
Because they don't have the right head coach, he don't know how to manage that talent. In Chicago, the wrong coaches kept the Bulls from winning championships.
Right.
You say, well, they still had Jordan and they had to work their way through the league. Coaches matter. And you're going to say, oh, well, that's basketball. All right, well, in football, Cowboys dominated with Jimmy Johnson. Then you had, what was his name? Coach that replaced Johnson.
Switzer?
Barry Switzer. And you got 1 championship out of it. Okay? Yeah. Jimmy Johnson dominated, got back-to-back with them. Barry Switzer got them 1 in 3 years. And most of those players full-heartedly believe that they would have won at least 2, if not 3 more with Jimmy Johnson. And coaches matter as far as they can be the difference between you being successful and not.
Yeah.
5-11, 5-11, 5-11, bring in Bill Parcells, switches around, they get to the playoffs. Maybe not win a championship that year, but We got to the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years he was here. And that matters.
Yeah.
So, when we look at it and we say these things, you got to understand, coaching impacts the game.
Yeah,
poor or great coaching impacts it.
We had Coach Clapp for all those years, and we're going 500, so.
Cooper bruised his ribs last game. Amari said today he'll be playing on Monday.
Okay.
Randy Gregory will be back at defensive end. So you at least have him. So there'll be less pressure for Micah.
Yeah.
To play as much defensive end next week. But if he's kicking butt, then why not play him? Cowboys play on Monday against the Eagles. And before we get into this week's stuff, another shout out to one of my former players, Xavier Gibson, playing for SFA. This past weekend, he had 3 receptions for 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. One was like 40 yards. Another was over 70 yards. These are touchdown receptions. And then he had another punt return for like 74, 76 yards for a touchdown. Now, this was against Mississippi Valley State, but that's what you should be doing. If you're that good, you should be doing that against a lesser opponent.
So congrats to that young man for just showing out, doing your job.
Yeah, I hear that Detroit's reached out to him, so he's still trying to figure out if he's going to head to the NFL next year or if or this year or if it's going to be the following year.
Yeah.
But either way, I wish him nothing but the best. Week 3, Panthers at Texans. We both chose the Panthers. And why was that, Jay?
Because the Panthers have a great quarterback.
No. It's not the Panthers have a great quarterback. It's more that Texans lost their quarterback.
Oh yeah, that had something to do with that. Yeah.
Let's follow that up with Washington at the Bills.
Yeah.
And why did we both get the Bills on this one?
Because they have an awesome quarterback.
No, because we don't really like him that much. Because once again, Washington lost their quarterback.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. So
I mean, they have an awesome quarterback compared to the team that doesn't have a quarterback.
I guess. Now, the Falcons at the Giants.
Yes.
We both got the Falcons because both teams suck.
Yes. I just think that the Giants are worse than...
Yeah, Falcons.
Yeah.
Look, honestly, I like the Falcons quarterback more than the Giants quarterback.
Yep.
That's why I'm going with them.
And I think he's got slightly better weapons.
Yeah. Ridley and then Pitts. Yeah, definitely. Chi-Town at Cleveland. Both of us got Cleveland. And why is that, Johnny?
Because they have an awesome quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. But because Chicago lost their quarterback. All right. This one we're split. I got the Ravens. You got Detroit.
Yes.
And why you got Detroit?
Mostly, again, it goes back to me liking the way Goff has been playing. That's really it. Just to have a little bit. Well, he's been playing well, and then just to keep it it's very easy for us to sit here and have the same people. So I do, again, pick just to be a little bit different.
Yeah, this week you pretty much have the same people except for that game and one more.
Yeah. Well, again, it happens.
Yeah. So, Colts and Titans. We both got the Titans. And what happened with the Colts? Who did they lose?
I picked the Titans because Denzel's their coach.
Oh. Yeah, I thought it was because Carson Wentz got hurt.
Oh.
No. With the Colts. So then we got the Chargers.
Guys, it's a joke. I know the Titans don't have Denzel coaching.
Wait a minute, they don't? Damn it.
Not Tennessee. Not the Tennessee Titans, they don't.
I was just watching it earlier, too, and he was the coach. I remember the Titans. So
I see what you did there.
Chargers at Chiefs. Both of us got the Chiefs. You because you're from Missouri, and me because
It's Mahomes.
Patrick's my homie.
Yeah.
You know, Saints at Patriots.
Yes.
Saints let me down last week.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston did what we had thought he would do the first week, and so it's in Foxborough. I got the Patriots on that. Bungles at Steelers.
Yes.
You hate Cincinnati.
Yes.
Not necessarily the city, but the team.
Yes. Mostly, it's kind of funny. They're my high school colors, but I still don't like them.
Yeah, you've always hated their colors.
Yeah.
And their helmets. And their name.
Yeah.
And so the Steelers by 3. We're not necessarily picking the points, but
No,
they're favored by 3. We're both picking the Steelers. Cards at Jags. I know I'm higher on the Jags than the rest of the football world because I've just been hearing people dog the life out of them. But the truth is, right now, I'm just going with the Cardinals because they're the better team out of the two.
Yeah.
I still think that the Jags are going to pull off like 6 wins this year and are going to be competitive. They're building their culture.
After we talked about Urban Meyer's last week, I guess it's the talk around town that like, oh yeah, college team comes along and gives him an offer, he's out of there. And I'm like, damn, like I hope he doesn't just so he can prove everyone wrong for just thinking like he's just gonna give up and walk back to college ball. Like fucked it, I tried it, didn't like it, went back.
No, and they were giving him a hard time because he was doing an interview and he was just giving teams credit. He said, yeah, it's like facing Alabama every week. Just saying that teams are loaded at this level.
Yeah.
And it's just the truth.
Just like you would give a rookie quarterback or a running back some time to develop their skill. Yeah, he's a great college coach, but he's going to have to take some time to really see how much different it is.
Well, and I don't even know if it's as much that as he's working with the rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
And his team is young.
But
he's trying to teach them how to win.
Yeah, that I wasn't meaning like learning the atmosphere and teaching his players. Like it's not necessarily that he doesn't know. It's just like it's a new situation. Whereas so when you're a college coach, like that's your program, you're running it. You being new to a program and then trying to see what they do.
Your first year there, either way, it's going to be an adjustment.
Exactly.
Look, I'm high on him.
Shit, how many coaches come in the league?
I'm not going to say he's a good person because I don't know him as a person.
Well, we weren't.
But as a coach,
yeah,
I think he's a good football coach.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to be successful if he wants to be. If you don't leave him, like I said, I think there's a chance he leaves for Texas next year. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But as far as the Jags coach, I think that the team is going to be competitive by the end of the season.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a solid squad. And right now, they're going up against the Cardinals, though. I think the Cardinals are rolling right now offensively, and I think that they're going to be...
But, you know what comes with that, though? Like, I always find it funny. Like, there'll be a team that's on a roller coaster. Like, they're on a roll. They're winning. And it's always the team that, like, why did you lose to this team? Like, this team you should have beat. Like, it's been in the books. Everyone walks through. And for whatever reason, that team showed up to play that day. Like, the whole term of any given Sunday is a reason because there's that random-ass team that's like, oh, I've lost 7 games in a row. You finally get a team that everyone has marked you like you're going to lose.
I think in the 90s, the Rams were the worst football team of the decade as far as record-wise. Yes. Well, in 92, they beat the Cowboys.
Right.
The Cowboys won the Super Bowl. Cowboys kicked butt. They were the beast of the East. And they lost to the Rams, which were one of the worst teams in football.
Yeah.
Any given Sunday, it can happen.
Yeah. Anyone that's just, I don't know. I know a few years ago I felt like the Jaguars had a solid team. They were running pretty good, and I would love to see them just to kind of show that flair again. I don't hate them. Like, I actually like a lot of times they get decent talent on their team.
I think they're a talented team, and I think they're well coached. Well, I think they have a good coach, and I think that they will succeed. But right now, we both got the Cards beating them. We both took the Broncos over the Jets. And
Yes.
look, honestly, I'm not out on the Jets quarterback as much as everyone else is, because Zach Wilson has started off horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Look, it's hard to be a rookie and be successful,
Yeah.
and that's why we don't like rookies.
This is true. It's a change. It's a shock to the system. Not many people can come in. I mean, even when everyone was sold on Dak his rookie year, I would tell you like, oh, I seen this in this game. I would point out
Yeah,
like
you see the flaws.
Yeah.
You see the flaws, and you see how Romo still would have given them a better chance to be successful in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what it is. I think people get excited by like casual people, like then, and for people that like me and you that are like when we really like a sport or something, we actually know what makes it good or bad, and we are critical of it. Like, oh, did you see how he hesitated at that point, or they didn't capitalize at that point? Because either we've played in it or we've just been that big of a fan of it. We know that.
Look,
And a lot of people are just casual. Like, as long as my team wins, that's all that matters. They're not paying attention to the fundamentals that actually make the game.
Going to that, you can point to just how people have been saying that Tony Pollard is the better running option than Zeke.
I wanted to bring that up to you.
Well,
Yeah.
You'll probably know my point or my idea that it's just ludicrous. I told you, Tony Pollard is Troy Hambrick.
Yeah.
Troy Hambrick was that running back who backed up Emmett that people were like, but he averages 5.6 yards a carry. He should be. And then when he was in there as the man and wasn't just running these gimmick plays,
Yeah.
he sucked.
Well, and
I'm not saying that Tony Pollard sucks. I'm not, because he's explosive. But there's a difference.
Well, I was going to say, because I was listening to one of those morning shows that talk about the sports like we do, and they were saying how basically Pollard is younger and he's better, and they were pretty much deriding him. And I'm not saying that he's
1 year younger.
and I'm not saying that he's not worthy of some sort of praise for playing. But what I think personally is we know what Zeke can do, so we don't want him to do that. Versus, I'm willing to gamble that I can sometimes get this other guy, give him a little bit more leeway. So, yeah, I think that's what happens. I think that you know that if he's going to get in there, he can make you look bad. So you practice more for stop this guy. We can
live with the few things this guy does.
Exactly.
Now here's the other thing with it. Obviously, people are talking about, well, Zeke can block.
Yeah.
And Zeke can do these other things that Pollard can't. He can protect Dak better. So someone joked, oh, make him a fullback.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you have both of these runners who have different running styles. And by the simple fact that this year we're playing them both at the same time, we're doing what you should be doing.
Right.
Because Pollard isn't necessarily in and Zeke is out.
Yeah.
Now, they will do that on some packages to give Zeke some breathers.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're keeping both of them in, or Zeke is the only back in, and then they'll put Pollard in there with him.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been calling for years. If you like both running backs, use them at the same time.
And it also stands to do exactly as I said. What happens when you have two of these? Like, well, we know what Zeke can do, so don't let Zeke be Zeke.
Yeah, we're worried about what Zeke can do.
Yeah.
We're worried about his homer.
Whereas to Tony, I can catch Tony, or I can stop him. But if Zeke isn't double teamed, he's gonna fuck around and just outrun me and knock me down and whatever.
He's gonna outmuscle me.
Yeah,
this guy's gonna outmuscle.
That's where I was trying to get with. Like, I think that's why everyone talked about that first week. How I was like, Tampa Bay had a good run defense from the jump. I think they planned on Dak being hurt with his arm, and so they just planned for the run, and that's why we didn't see a lot of running in that game.
And we were missing our best offensive linemen, and
yeah,
I mean, all those things go into it.
And to me, it makes sense. Like, if you don't think of that and you just think that, like, no, they just weren't gonna run, like, Zeke's not good, you're just not paying attention to how strategizing a team would go. Like, if you were a coach, you would think, like, oh, we know that they have a great run game. Stop the run. Oh, they got a great passing game. We need to definitely make sure our cornerbacks and safeties are ready to go.
Yeah. What is our point of emphasis on this? So, yeah, when we look at all those factors, you have to,
You're right.
so you can be truly to show that you're really being knowledgeable about it all.
Right.
Um, Dolphins at Raiders.
Yes.
We both got the Raiders.
Yes.
Once again, Dolphins missing their quarterback, and the
Yeah.
Raiders are playing really well.
Raiders are on a roll, so
Look, they're going to lose some games that they were supposed to win,
yeah.
but it's going to be hard for the Dolphins to pull this one off.
I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, Tua being young and you want to see him do well, but I don't. I mean, and I don't know what that backup situation looks like, and if people emphasize more on having really decent backups, you wouldn't have to worry about like when your starter goes down.
Yeah. Bucks are 1.5-point favorites over the Rams. We both got the Rams. I know you hate picking the Lambs,
I do hate picking them.
but I told you last week I think the Rams are going to be in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I won't go beyond that, but I will say in the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be the Bucks' first loss.
Listening to that game, like
now
that
let me say
crazy.
something. This is where people are going to try to say, well, the Bucks are going to be. Didn't you see how well the Bucks ran off that last game? The Bucks pulled away at the end. It was a much closer game than what it the final score ended up looking like.
Yeah.
My whole contention for the Bucks not repeating is they got old players, and I think they're going to keep getting hurt.
Yes.
Right now, you got Antonio Brown out with COVID.
Yep.
And I think as the season goes on, your old players are going to wear out.
Yes.
That's why I don't think that they'll win the championship.
Right.
Right now, they're still rolling, but they got the Rams, and the Rams are the team who I think is going to be the class of the NFC this year. Now, the Cowboys very well could be right there with them, especially starting this week, because for the next 6-7 weeks, the Cowboys very well may be favored in every one of these next games, and they could easily have a 7-1 record.
Right. So for my point for picking the Rams is I think the Rams have a dangerous defense, and I think they've had a dangerous defense for a few years now.
Well, Aaron Donald's gonna wreak havoc.
Yeah, and I think for me that's my thing. Like for at least since they went to this they've for the last 3-4 years I think that they've had a very good defense. Maybe 5 years now. Their defense has been good. Their offense has gone up and down over the years, but I think right now they have a decent offense with a good defense, and I think because of that makes this harder for the Buccaneers to actually pull off a win.
It being in LA,
right? They're at home. Like I said, with their weapons and the things that they have going for them already. Again, Buccaneers, they're gonna do what they do. And I think we're going to see a high-scoring game. I think that's what that's going to boil down to.
I think there's a very good chance of that. I also think that there's a chance that Aaron Donald sacks Tom Brady 2 or 3 times.
That's
and
true.
Even if he doesn't sack him, he's going to hit him.
Yeah.
He's because Aaron Donald is that good.
Yeah.
I know both you and I said that he is on the downward slide of his career. That doesn't mean that he's done.
Yeah, in his position, that means maybe he doesn't get 1 or 2 sacks throughout the year
that he otherwise would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe someone blocked him that one time that they normally wouldn't have been able to block him. That's what that downward is. It's not saying that he's not going to still be 8 times out of 10 as opposed to 9 times out of 10 fuck you up.
Exactly. So there's a difference.
Yeah.
We're not saying stick a fork in him. He needs to retire.
It's just that downward slowly, he's going to miss some plays.
You went from making 18, 19 sacks a year to 15, 14.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. 100%. That's all we're saying.
Seahawks at Vikes. Seahawks are favored by 1.5. I got the Vikes in this. The Vikes are at home. They're a solid team. They showed heart last week. almost pulled off the win after falling in a big deficit.
Yeah.
But I got the Vikes. You got the Seahawks.
I think that's more of. I just like the Seahawks better. Like, it's not anything like. It could go either way, obviously.
Yeah, and hell, even the points is 1.5. I mean,
yeah,
it's a coin flip game. And the Packers at the 49ers.
yeah.
I got the Pack. You got the Pack. I'm not sold on the Niners. I don't think that they're the real deal.
No, I think what I like about them is they're a young team. And that's where that is like they're a young team. I like to see the flares of like these young players showing the potential that they could be doing on a regular basis in a couple of years. But at this, I don't know did you catch the Green Bay game?
Yeah.
Like, there was a point where even Aaron Rodgers was like, he was like complimenting the quarterback, like, man, that's how you do that right there. Like, he was really like, he at least appreciates like whenever someone else is doing what they're supposed to. Like, I don't know if it's because he's old and he's at a point where he's like, I'm halfway out the door. Like, I really don't give a fuck about what's going on.
Look, they were losing 17-14 at halftime.
Yeah, they were.
It was a game.
Yeah.
Until late in the third, something like that.
Yeah.
They just pulled away.
Yeah.
But look, that was the rain. That was the elements. It was the fact that the Packers really are a better team.
Yeah.
So eventually, you should pull away.
They were playing Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was, like, Goff was starting to scramble because, like, his players weren't getting open and whatever. And whenever, like, he literally ran right by Rodgers, and Rodgers just smiled real big and was like, fuck yeah, that's how you do it. Like, and I was like, you could at least appreciate a young quarterback still doing what, he's
were you happen to be flipping back to the Peyton Manning and Eli Manning?
No, I seen it after.
So here's the funny thing, and they didn't mention it, and I didn't hear anybody else mention it. I didn't see it on Twitter. I'm not saying people weren't talking about it, but not to the extent that they should have been. There's a point where they got Brett Favre on there, right?
Okay.
So Brett Favre is their special guest, amongst other guests that they had. There was some funny stories, whatever. But Brett Favre is their guest, and they're about to cut to commercial, and Aaron Rodgers just scores another touchdown to really blow this thing up, right?
Yeah.
And so Aaron Rodgers is hitting his veins like I got ice in my veins. He hits them, and then he puts his hands there like he's getting a shot, right?
Yeah.
And Eli Manning tells Brett Favre, and you got to remember, Brett Favre had a drug and alcohol addiction just before they cut to commercial. Like, they cut off his words as he's saying. He's like, so... that reminds you of anything you ever did?
You know what? I did see that, but I didn't catch the whole contents of it.
Oh, man. To me, I was like, no, they did not. Eli did not just say that. It made me like Eli, and I hate Eli.
But, you do hate Eli, too.
But, yeah. I was like, oh, my God, he did not just say that. But you didn't hear Favre's reaction because they rarely cut to commercial.
Right.
But it was so good. And I didn't hear anybody else talk about it.
Yeah.
But, man, it was funny.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But, last game, both of us got the Cowboys over the Eagles, Monday Night Football.
Yes.
Cowboys are favored by 4. Look, honestly, I think the Cowboys are a good enough team that despite their coaching, they're going to win this game. Yeah. I think that they have a stretch of 6 to 8 games going forward.
Yeah.
That are really winnable for them and that they probably will be favored. So you can see this Cowboy team 7-1 because they pulled off this win against the Chargers.
Yeah.
You can see them 7-1 at the halfway point.
I think Skip was saying at first after before the season started, he was saying that the season wasn't going to start for the Cowboys until this game. Because he was like, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, they're probably going to lose this. It was like, and then playing the Chargers, they're a really good team. I still don't, he was saying Dak hadn't played it all at this point. And then so he was like, but after that, the season starts for them. They're going to actually start pulling off and winning at that point, because then it goes down the whole season why he thought that, and so I like that they started it before even a so-called. I don't like Skip. Skip does not. He's not a Cowboys fan, if you ask me. And I'll argue with him if he ever lets me come up to his show and tell him that he's not a Cowboys fan. I don't care how long he wants to talk about whenever he first seen that star and fuck out of here. You're not a Cowboys fan.
Nah, he's an idiot. But yeah, so I think Dallas gets it. I think right now they're rolling. I think their receiver CD is going to go off.
Okay.
He's going to be the number one target, I think, because Amari's hurt, and obviously you don't have Gallup. So I think CD is going to go off.
Okay.
And I think the Cowboys are going to really start a win streak right now.
It's a good thing that they're deep on the offense, that they can afford to, like, one player down, this player out, and still have enough other people on there to, well, even with him out, I can still throw it here and still throw it there.
Yeah, their tight ends have played well, been able to be interchanged as far as receiving wise. You can use your running backs in the passing game and in the obviously run game.
Yeah.
Right now, just so you guys know, the Panthers are up 7-6.
They scored
with 25 seconds left in the first half. So, Johnny, lied to you. We're not going to have time to get to my running backs. But it looks like we can talk about Canelo real quick.
Boxing news. Canelo, I think, is doing a great job of selling this fight against Caleb Plant. Everyone thinks, I don't know, from a few people that I know, they are thinking that Canelo is starting to be overly cocky or being too full of himself. They also think he overreacted by being called the motherfucker and pushing this guy. If you ask me, it looks like he's just trying to sell a fight.
Yeah, definitely.
Because one thing about him, I've never seen him get that emotional about anything to where it's like, oh, he's gonna, he's not Tyson where he's showing a whole lot of emotion about he wants to beat somebody. He's pretty reserved and just like, I just want to box you. Like,
he doesn't care enough about Plant.
That's
one
what
way
I'm
or
saying.
Another to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't really. I mean, he hasn't fought anybody.
Look, Plant's a nice fighter. He's got a nice record. 21-0, 12 knockouts, 9 decisions. I mean, that's a nice record. I'm not going to say it's great by any means. It's an admirable record.
He's a couple years younger.
But that's the thing. Look at that. 21-0, 29 years old.
Yeah.
Canelo, 56-1 in 2 draws.
Yeah.
56-1.
Yeah.
So, more than double the fights that Plant's had, and all he is 2 years older.
Yeah.
48 knockouts. He's had more than double the knockouts that Plant has had fights.
As I pointed out a few weeks ago, at 24 years old, he fought Floyd with 42 or 40-0, whatever. They were both equal at like 40-something.
As far as amount of wins. Yeah, their records were virtually identical, even though we knew that Canelo wasn't yet in his prime.
No, but that actually was the turning point. Like, that was literally where I seen the biggest growth for a fighter, well, at least in him. He did so much night and day after. Like, watch 2 fights before, watch 2 fights after, and you see how much he learned from that one fight.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I actually didn't think we were even going to get into this point. Also, while we're talking about boxing, Oscar De La Hoya is out of the hospital, preparing for a fight this year, but he's calling out Floyd, as he always does, saying that he'll give him $100 million for the fight. So I'm kind of curious to see if Floyd takes it, but I know a lot of these diehard Floyd fans are saying that Floyd will do De La Hoya dirty. I don't know that he'll do him dirty. I just don't know that anybody really wants to watch that fight. I know I personally am not wanting to watch this fight. Maybe 10 years ago, I would have been like clamoring to watch them fight again. But at this point, De La Hoya has been out of the game long enough.
I think the only time I wanted the fight was
15 years ago.
Yeah,
like right after
16 years after that fight. After I felt that De La Hoya was robbed, I wanted a rematch then. But afterwards, I mean, you saw De La Hoya decline when he was getting later fights.
Yeah.
Past that Floyd fight. So for me, yeah, I might watch it, but I'm not gonna pay for it.
Yeah, I'm interested in watching it in the sense that I wonder who looks the worst out of it, but I'm pretty sure it's easy to say that it would be De La Hoya just because, again, he hasn't fought in 16, 17 years.
He's older.
Yeah.
Look, he was older when the two fought.
Yeah.
But he was still good at that point.
He was on his second flare up of being really good. You know what I think is kind of interesting is he fought one of the arguably best boxers in history and beat him twice. But yet a lot of people still criticize him for not being as good as he could have been, I guess.
A lot of people hated on him. Look, I don't like De La Hoya as a person, never have. But as a boxer, he's one of the better boxers I've ever seen. Yeah. Well, when you look at what he did, he got killed by Pac-Man. Okay?
Yeah.
Pac-Man did him dirty.
Yeah.
And this was just a couple years after De La Hoya arguably beat Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Different fighting styles, different and styles make matchups.
Yeah, I think the thing about De La Hoya that I liked is not necessarily that he had he wasn't like a Sugar Ray Robinson where he would fight anybody and everybody no matter what weight class.
No.
But he definitely would fight people that maybe he shouldn't have been fighting. They could have been dangerous for him. And
when he really hated somebody, like when he hated Vargas,
yeah,
he kicked Vargas's butt, and Vargas was on steroids.
Yeah.
And some people say, well, the steroids are why he lost. No, he lost because he got his butt handed to him.
You know, that was whenever he was coming back, and that's actually why I thought he was going to beat Floyd, but I didn't realize that Floyd Sr. was the one that was training him for that Vargas fight.
And that was the thing. Floyd Sr. left him right after that because Floyd was on the upcome, and he was like, I'm not going to train you to beat my son.
Yeah. Well, no, he told him he would train him so long as he didn't fight his son.
Yeah.
And then whenever he took the fight, he said, I can't train you anymore.
Exactly.
But the funny thing was, I remember distinctly after that fight, and they asked Floyd Sr., who you think won, because it went to the scorecards. And he said, if they say that my son won, then I guess he won. He didn't say that he won. He said, if you say...
Yeah.
And that's what always stuck in my head, like, damn, even Senior doesn't think that he actually won that fight. He's going
to go with it.
Yeah.
Look, as a coach, as a football coach, I've had plenty of time where they threw the flag on the other team, and they said it was a hold or pushing the back or whatever it was. And I said to the guy next to me, hey, that was bullshit, but I'll take it.
Right.
And you know, you hate when those calls go against your team.
Yeah.
But when they're given to you, you're going to say, hey.
You capitalize on them if you can.
You know, that's the way it goes.
Right.
And you know what? Floyd Sr. said essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
So like, it was what it was. But that was the thing, though. It wasn't as clear and decisive.
Yeah.
For some of us who watched it and try to be objective when we watch it, we thought, look, this is what happened.
Right. Where it very much could have been in grounds for a rematch, you know. But, guys, we're out of time. We did even go a little bit over than the last couple weeks, so if you guys are upset about that, tough shit. You listened all the way to this point anyways. But if you guys like it, let us know. Feel free to tweet us.
This is what I recommend. After you've listened to it, go back, listen to it again, and then listen to it a third time, even if you decide to mute it, to see if you can remember what we said. It's a little game.
But, if you want to follow me on Twitter, TikTok,
he loves stalkers.
Instagram, it's at SleepyJ, SLEEP_E_J. Or you can follow Coach Rudy on Twitter at
RudyV1982. Comment, say whatever you gotta say. Try to fight me. I will throw invisible jabs at you. Like, I'm not really gonna raise my hands because I'm old. I'm tired.
Yeah. Like, comment, share, subscribe on YouTube. Please share the podcast with your friends and family. Help us grow this podcast. And until next time, take it easy. I'm out.
Deuces.